Good morning and welcome to 11 Bean to Bar project. So I thought I'd make something fun and interesting for Mother's Day. Since I got these really cool new molds, I wanted to try something. There's Bonbons. My favorite thing ever to do. I think I've done them a couple of times, but what could be fun and different? And as far as coloring and flavoring goes, I have some rose petal powder that I've been using in soaps and stuff that I've been making. So I'm gonna actually use that to color this cocoa butter. And I'm gonna use that to mold these. I do have some other colors too, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and temper these. Get them ready and use some different colors to make some pretty fun special Mother's Day bonbons. Inside I'm going to do a raspberry ganache. I do have frozen raspberries here somewhere. Frozen raspberries, and a friend of mine has a farm and she has raspberries and makes raspberry jam, so I have some raspberry jam from her I'm going to use. So let's see if we can create these really cool fun bonbons. So I'm going to start with Pyrex, and I'm just going to chop this up, get it fine enough. Smaller it is, the faster it will melt. And I've not ever used rose petal powder in anything edible, so throw caution to the wind and see how that will turn out as far as taste goes. I've heard it's good, so let's see. I'm not even sure how much I need. I didn't weigh this out. Kind of just winging this recipe. Sometimes I find that if I try something new and throw caution to the wind, so to speak, things can turn out well. I do have a recipe for the raspberry ganache, so I'm going to go by and follow most of it. There are some variations, obviously, because I'm using raspberry jam as opposed to fresh. I am going to put a fresh raspberry. They're frozen right now and I'm going to thaw them, but I am going to put a raspberry in each of the molds. I think if they're not too wet, we'll see what happens, but for now we're going to see what this looks like. I do have some dark chocolate, 35% dark chocolate that I had made the other day, and it was the stuff left over that I didn't bar yet, so it's just solid. So I think what I'm going to do is use this as a coating for the bonbons, and then I'm going to do a layer, probably, I'm going to do a layer of the chocolate, the dark chocolate, and then do the filling, and then probably just do the dark to seal it. I also found a recipe for this really neat tart, so I might just go out on a limb and do that, but we'll see how much time I have and how creative I want to get. Today is Sunday and we have Sunday dinner. We have my parents over for dinner on Sunday, so I still have to come up with something really delicious to serve them. But I have 3 or 4 hours to decide, so we won't starve. Okay, so let's start. Get this in the microwave, and I'm just going to do it in the microwave. I typically will do it on the stove, but today I'm just going to do the microwave. Start at 45 seconds, and then after that I go down to 25 to 30 second increments, stirring in between. Just wash my hands in between things here. I'm curious to see how pretty that coloring is going to be. And I do need to get these other colors in as well. I think what I'm going to do is put them in a container of water. And then put them in the microwave. Actually, this is me being extra weird, I guess. I think I'm gonna melt this down. I have a different idea now. Sorry, let me just explain what I'm gonna do. So I have this rose petal powder that I want to use to color my cocoa butter. But I also have lemon peel powder, and I have some orange peel powder. So I'm going to take some of the cocoa butter and I'm going to add these and see. Now, I'm probably not going to use the lemon peel because it's a brown color, but the orange peel looks like kind of a citrusy yellowish color. So I'm going to try and experiment, just use these to color, because I really kind of want to avoid the dyes. I know a lot of people have allergies to certain dyes, so I want to make this available to a wider variety of people. I know my parents are diabetic, so I do make sugar-free chocolate. And I don't charge extra for specialty chocolates. So whether you're diabetic or whatever, I'm not going to charge extra for the sugar-free. So, so I'm going to divide this up because it would be kind of fun to do like these cool, I've seen tons of cool patterns, cool designs. So I'd much rather do that. And then you have these really cool flavors and colors. I've seen some, I've seen one that actually taped the inside of the mold. I don't have tape small enough. I'm just wondering if there's something I can do. I can probably at the end as well, if I wanted to, just color some cocoa butter and pipe strips on top or something, but I really kind of want to do something fun anyway with this. My mind tends to change frequently. Splash, splash. Yeah, I'd much rather if I can get away with dyeing things without. So I do have color powders, and then I have those cocoa butter colors, which I don't. Let's just do natural and see where we are at with that. And then too, of course, moms would appreciate that natural, beautiful bonbon. Oh, that smells so good. I wish you could smell that. That's the orange peel powder. I've only ever used it in like face creams. I make soaps and lotions and shampoo bars, conditioner bars that I've only made one that's actually turned out. The others kind of have bombed. But that's another story. I'm not sure that I'm going to have enough here. But everything, I washed everything this morning. It's all fresh and clean. But I always take paper towel and make sure that the insides are dry. And then I am going to need to whisk these. I'm going to check and see. I know I have a couple of small ones. Dishwasher is full of freshly cleaned dishes, so steam that. these little whisks and they work great. I guess I just need the one because I'm only pouring some into one of the small ones. Again, I want to make sure that it's completely dry. Don't want. Alright, I'm going to throw this in again. If these turn out, they are going to be so yummy. I do have some cream that I got. I've never seen this before, but I've always found 33% cream, and this is 36. So I'm super excited to use it and see how well it also fits. And I'm thinking about adding that in there. White chocolate, cream. I think that would be nice with the raspberry white chocolate in there. I think it would give it a nice flavoring. With the rose, it's a lot of flavor, but you know what, for Mother's Day, right? Maybe I'll make myself one. Just because. I'm so curious to see how well this is going to color. I'm going to dump some out. I don't want to do too much of the orange peel. More just to see how the coloring is going to work with the orange peel. It may just be gross and nasty and not look pleasant at all. Blood lemon, I might try an experiment just to see, for the sake. Maybe I better. Well, I've got it on camera, so if it turns out it's like this wonderful discovery. If it doesn't, then you've watched one of my many failures. See, I haven't even opened that. It's still completely sealed. I got these off of Amazon. It came in a pack, so I had all these. Well, the rose is separate, but I did get the hibiscus and the lemon and the orange. Oh, that smells not very appetizing. Just put a little bit in there, and let's see what color it turns. Nope. It's dark, very dark. I'm actually going to sift the other when I dump them, because there's a lot of lumps here. It's not horrible, but it kind of looks like dirt. So, I mean, I guess I could have made like a garden theme for Mother's Day with some chocolate, cocoa butter dirt. See? Not exactly something that I would want to feed my mama. But now I have to clean this because I'm going to use it for the orange peel. Dry it really well. Still trying to get these last little few chunks here to melt, because I definitely don't want to be pouring them into the molds like that. Also, while that's happening, I do need to prepare my surface, which I normally would do before I turn the camera on, but sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. I'm too excited. And yeah, unfortunately, wax paper is up in that cupboard, and I'm full. There. Lay that out. This is such a saver when it comes to cleaning up. And also what I love about it is when I pour the chocolate into my molds, the chocolate that ends up on here hardens nice, and then I can reuse it, I should say. I'm thinking too, I might take some of my pink chocolate. This is the berry chocolate that I make. I'm gonna take that, Easter bunnies, they didn't sell, I'm gonna melt them down, and then I think I'm gonna get like a piping bag and just write mom on the parchment paper, thick enough, and then when I pull it off, I can put those in with the boxes of chocolates for mom, so then they can have a nice berry flavored mom name. Another one of my ideas, I'm not sure that I will have time to do, but I'm certainly going to give it a whirl. Alright, so my strainer is straight from the dishwasher as well. Just make sure it's come apart here, but I'm only going to be using just one little side. To invest in a new one of these at some point. It's ripping. Don't know if you can tell, but there we go. Alright, I think we're ready for some color. Start with the rose. I'm just going to put like right around a teaspoon in. Not going crazy with measuring. I don't think I need to. That big whisk. Bigger whisk. Alright, so just right around a teaspoon-ish. See what color. See, with the cocoa powder being not like a clear, I'm not sure what the coloring is actually going to be. I'm a little concerned. Probably going to be more of a purple than an actual pink. But I look at it, it is a purple. So, yeah, it's definitely purple. It's dark, but I think it's pretty. Now, let's see. I almost think that this might be not measuring that one. And I'll get the little whisk out. Okay, so that makes a bright-ish, well, kind of a yellow. Wondering if we mix the yellow. It does smell nice, so you put the cocoa smell and then a little bit of citrus. Now, I just need for them to thicken a bit before I can actually use them. I do have paintbrushes, are downstairs, so I'm going to go and grab those. I think that's going to be pretty. Like it's, I don't know, it's not. Let's see here. Oh, that one already hard. Just for fun, I'm going to taste this one. Let's see. Well, if it hadn't been so much, that lemon one, it wouldn't be too bad. But I'm going to go grab those paintbrushes. Now I have different sizes here for, these are food grade, different sizes for different molds. I did get my pastry bags as well. I'm going to have it out and ready in case I decide to, although I'm not sure that I'm going to do a pastry bag. I think I'd rather just paint them in. So I'm going to take these out of here. I am going to taste that orange one. And I really want to taste that rose. Alright. Stick it in there. A little bit. Very mild. Extremely mild taste. I almost think I'd add more to it. It doesn't really have much of a taste at all to it. And I want to taste this one here will be exciting or interesting taste. I may need to add more, but definitely a different flavor. Mouthful of cocoa butter. It's a very mild flavor. Oh, I didn't even use this. I thought I was going to use the strainer. Well, that didn't work out very well. That was my plan. Gonna add a little bit more. The flavor isn't overwhelming at all. Actually, rose is quite a nice calming flavor. Oh, I can smell it now. Oh boy, that smells nice. So I think I'm going to paint the inside of the molds. Maybe I'll paint the yellow and then I'll pour in the pink and then dump. I think that's probably going to be the best, I guess, easiest. I don't know. I will use the larger thing here. How I want to do this. Could do like a little swirl, or I can do a stripe, or I can just, yeah, I don't even know. Creativity will call my name and I will have it figured out before it's time to do anything with it. I'm going to start with this one, obviously. This has the most molds. If there's any left, then I go on to this one, which I'm excited about doing too. I think this will be good for I think more for my citrusy bonbons that I'll be doing. And this, of course, the berry super soft dessert. So let me just see here what we're going to do as far as design goes. I'm almost tempted to just sprinkle some powder in there as well. That powder smells so nice. Like it's just that nice light citrus. So I think I'm going to actually start with that. I'm going to just do a little tiny bit of citrus in the bottom of each one. Even if I just do like that. This one here is actually too much. So the problem is that you get too much in there. And it's not really coloring anything. It's just kind of I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of going along each one. A little loop-de-loo. Then I just excess. So it's just a really light powdering. Really hard to see, but I'm only going to do some of them with that. And then I might do some with the rose powder too. Just, I did that the other day, yesterday actually, with some pink coloring that I got. And it actually turned out quite nice. I did it on some roses. And it was very pretty. It turned out very nice. So, and that was literally just sprinkling and then leaving. So this is just more of a kind of a swirl. And then I'm going to do it with the rose powder. How are we? We're still good. I'm still good. So I think it'll just kind of add a little bit of character to it, a little bit more of a depth. I just think that having fun with stuff is I don't know. Let's be creative, and what's the worst that can happen? Um, I like to take chances and way too much in that one. But I really smell the rose, and it smells quite nice. Very, very nice. I think what I'm actually gonna give him some different colors. So I'm gonna pour in both at the same time, I think. Maybe. Changed my mind about 4,000 times. So as you can see, very slight coloring in there, nothing too extreme. Because I bang out the extra just so you're not going to get big clumps of powder. This is all going to be more for visual effect. Obviously the flavoring is going to be in that ganache. But I thought I'd do the shells first because they do need to harden. I don't put them in the fridge to harden. I harden everything on the counter. But I do want to do a chocolate shell on top of this. So once I've got that tempered or put in, cleaned off, then I'm going to go ahead and melt down my dark chocolate, and then I'm going to do a layer of dark on that. Just to give that visual effect, you cut that in half and you're going to get that really pretty contrasting colors. And then of course that flavoring in the center is going to be, yeah, hopefully, in my mind it tastes really good. Whether or not it actually will is another story, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. I don't ever worry about the flavoring. Like those ones I just showed you, they're actually going to be my signature bar. I've got the bubble bar here, and then the roses that I showed you. So this is made with my pink chocolate, my berry chocolate, and then the milk chocolate. So that's 11teen's signature flavor, but they're a little mild. I didn't put enough of the berry chocolate with the milk, so you just get a very slight hint of the berry almost towards the end. But that's fine. I've done a couple of little gift boxes for Mother's Day. So this one I have the 4 berries, and then I do have that bubble bar in the center. And then I did a box of 8 roses. So anybody wants an idea for Mother's Day, they're more milk chocolate than the actual berry flavor, but the flavoring is there. And it's just a nice little gift. It's not too extravagant, but it's made from the cocoa bean. How many moms are going to get actual, chocolate that's made from the bean into a beautiful rose? So something to think about Mother's Day. Yeah, just try to get ahead of the game and plan so that I have lots of time. My berries are melting. I'm melting them on the counter. Again, I try to do that as much as possible. Obviously with like meats and stuff, they go in my fridge to thaw, but for the berries, thaw them on the counter. And they look so good. They look like the day they were put in the freezer, nice and fresh. They're going to complement that bonbon very well. These cavities I like because they're deep, or deeper than the other ones. Like you look at these ones here, not as deep. Wrong side, I guess probably that side's easier. So this one here is more for like the, just the filling, but this I can actually add fruit to it. That's kind of the exciting part of this. And another reason I'm doing the 2 layers here, the layer of cocoa butter and then the layer of chocolate, is because I want to be able to put a raspberry in there without it soaking through and making a big ugly mess. I will dry it as much as possible once and these things, they do take a long time to temper, which is also giving me more time to think. So if I use all this and it goes into these 2 molds, I do have a backup mold. As always, I keep one on hand just in case I have extra stuff. These are just my little gift ones. I'm only putting powder in these ones. If need be and I need to pour into these molds, I'm just going to pour the colors in. Probably the more of the lemon one. No, it's not lemon. Orange one. Yeah. More of the orange one, just because they kind of look like little lemons or something to me. I'm definitely super, super excited to get this going. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I also did pick up some organic vanilla beans, powdered form. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm super excited to try and see. It's just Madagascar bourbon vanilla beans. But I know, like with my melanger, can't put any liquid in, right? And the only chocolate that I use, oh my gosh, that smells so good. The only chocolate that I use vanilla in is my berry chocolate. So this I will be able to add right into the melanger and let it mix, because that will give it a chance to blend right through the whole thing, which I think will enhance the flavoring. That's my hope anyway. I'm still learning. I'm always learning and evolving and changing. So my strategies are always changing, as you can see. Can't decide what I want to do. But I do think it's exciting. It would be nice if this was a little brighter of a yellow, but I'm definitely not going to complain. But I'm going to taste that and see what I added that little bit extra to it. You definitely, the cocoa butter is kind of like dominating that. And there's a bit of a bitterness to it. But that inside is going to be extremely sweet. With the jam isn't overpoweringly sweet, but I am adding that bottle of Forbidden Delights or whatever it is, alcohol cream, and that is pretty sweet too. And then of course the natural berry flavor. I do think that this is all going to complement it. I'm going to taste that. This one too. Okay, the rose one is definitely a winner. That's something I'm going to do again. And this is going to be one of my signature. I think this will be one of my go-tos for coloring. Most definitely. It is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful to use. I may not use this orange peel again. And the lemon actually doesn't really even smell like lemon powder. Kind of a... No, not really. I'm wondering if I added a little bit of... No, I'm not gonna... Start experimenting some more. Rose I did not think would be something edible, although I've seen a million times, I've seen lots of foods made with roses. So that's definitely something I'm going to use more in cooking. I know there's a lot of countries that use it for meats and poultries. I just did a chicken yesterday in the oven. Nice big roasted chicken. And that rose would have been lovely mixed with that. Because there's a lot of spices I use chili powder and turmeric and salt and pepper, and I use garlic powder and gosh, like I use a lot. But that would go very nice, very nice with it. And these are still not thickening very well, or not really thickening at all yet. So I'm going to get my ingredients together for the ganache so that I can get that started right away. I do have it written down somewhere. But, so I'm going to need the raspberries and the cream and the chocolate, and then inverted sugar, which I don't have. So I am going to use honey. And once again, I'm still trying to contemplate that because I do have the raspberry jam and not the puree as they call for. So I am probably going to forgo that honey, come to think of it. And I have been using butter in my ganaches, and this one I don't think called for butter. Oh, it did. So that's good. Have that ready. I am going to actually put a few drops of lime juice in it. And then I'm going to rethink that because I need cream and I don't want that to... I don't want to add anything that's going to turn that cream nasty. So, the chocolate I'm using is the dark chocolate that I had made a few days ago. And I didn't bar it all, just barred enough to take to a sale. So it's 65% dark. It tastes really good. Like it's quite pleasant, quite pleasant. And it's not black. Normally dark chocolate that I see is black. This came from cocoa beans from Ecuador, which I have some beans actually right now outside. I just roasted them this morning. So they're outside. I can bring them in and show you in a minute. But I just want to show you the chocolate that I am using. I'm going to get my, well, I guess once I get this emptied, I'll just reuse this one. I have a bigger one, but this one's nicer for pouring, especially when I'm doing this. But yeah, so this chocolate is like really tasty. And then yesterday I did a 77% dark, still not dark, 77% dark. This is sugar free, so I used powdered truvia, and it makes for really nice, like that Ecuadorian cocoa beans. They make beautiful chocolate. The flavoring is like, I don't like diet anything. I don't like using like fake sugar, but that truvia powder in the chocolate, I don't notice that it's not real sugar in there. And I also don't like to hide the flavoring of the chocolate. However those beans cook and turn out, I want that flavor to be in the chocolate when you're eating it. So you actually taste that Ecuadorian bean, not all the crap that's added. Like the bonbons, yes, you're going to taste all the crap that's added because it's a bonbon. But you're still going to get that 65% chocolate. You're still going to get that flavor. That's definitely going to be there. Yeah, so I mean that's with my berry chocolate. It's all that natural, like the process that's used to make that chocolate. You can watch the video on how it's done. I don't add the coloring to it. It's naturally pink, and I don't add any berry flavor to it. Citric acid is what I add to it, and that's what's going to give it that pink color, and I'm sure it contributes to the flavoring, as well as sugar and milk powder. So that's it. Mixing that with my milk chocolate, the Madagascar beans is what I use for my milk chocolate. Putting them together, it creates such a lovely flavoring. And it's enhancing the flavors, the natural flavors within the beans. Pink is an exception to all the rules. It doesn't follow any rules. But it's fun to make. I enjoy doing all of this. I'm working longer hours than I've ever worked. And I'm in the kitchen. I'm on my feet all day. I wear shoes on my feet all day. Otherwise my knees won't be able to handle it. But I absolutely love doing this. Just showing you here a little bit. I don't know if you can see the little bit of coloring from the powder that I did. Can't really tell. I think it'll be nice once I get this cocoa butter in there. Okay, so I have a pot here that I'm going to use. That's what I'm going to use to do the ganache. And I'm going to get my scale so I can measure the stuff out. So this is all measuring in grams, so like 207.6 grams of cream. Okay then. I'm just going to bring it over here, otherwise my back is to you and or to the camera. So all I see is myself looking back. I don't see anybody out there. But what I'm going to do is measure out. I put the pot on and then I zero it. But I'm going to measure out this as well as the cream. So I'm going to cook it out all together. What did I say? 207.6. Actually, just going to shake that up. Okay, so that's 191. I don't want to add too much of this. Oh, it's not so good. Okay, so I added a little bit more than normal. I put 217 in. Which I think is fine. I'll just add a little bit of everything else too. And what I like about these pots too is when you pour stuff out, it all comes out. You get less waste with these pots. Now they want you to do the chocolate first anyway. Of course, molding the molds, putting the chocolate in the molds first. But I just like to get a little bit ahead of the game, and sometimes I just like to have things somewhat prepped before I go on to the next step. It does save time in the long run, but sometimes I can be scatterbrained and disorganized, and like if you saw over here the mess I have, and over here the mess I have, you can see kind of the mess I have over there, but over there is hidden. But it's organized clutter, kind of. So have that. I don't want to temper that. I don't want to melt that dark chocolate yet until I have these in. So I need them to harden in the molds. I really do like that flavor. I really, really like it. And these are way better than using the other colors actually. So I may do some research into getting some more of these natural colors. Because when I'm selling my chocolate, I am promoting that I'm taking those beans and making chocolate, right? And how can you say you're making these natural chocolate with no added crap when I'm using like color powder, right? And I love color, I love using color powder. And there are times when I'm probably still going to use it if I don't have anything to kind of substitute the coloring. But if I can find and source colors, like I'm doing an Asian market coming up in about a month. So all these Asian inspired bonbons I'm going to create. I think I'm going to pick like three flavors, but I want to do reds and golds. So if I can find a natural source of red and gold, then I would definitely use that. But I'm going to do pick some really neat, authentic Asian inspired flavors. One is matcha. Another one I'm going to do is mango habanero, and I haven't decided completely on the third one yet. By then I may have a fourth flavor in mind. Okay, this is starting to thicken quite nice, so I may go ahead and start pouring this out soon. So yeah, I want to kind of do some really cool Asian bonbons. Okay, this is bigger here. I think probably the best thing to do is actually to paint in there. Not sure how I can get you to kind of see what I'm doing without taking away from it. I'm just swirling. I think that's what I'm going to do. I was going to do like a little line, but swirl. I'm getting a very thin coat. It's not anything that's major. It's really thickening now. As you can see, it's thickened up quite a bit. So I may have to pour. I'm going to pour some. I know, like I said, I change my mind quite frequently, and that's okay. I'm not going to worry about trying to make everything perfect. Definitely not going to worry about trying to make things perfect. And just some of them got colored. And it doesn't even have to be the whole thing, because again, I'm going to have this stuff coming in too, right? And a great thing too is that when I poured it from the big one into the small one, I am creating sort of a smaller, less of a footprint. So the smaller one's going to temper faster, which gives me time to get this one on and ready. So now I've just made a mess here, but fine. Not a problem at all. So some of it got colored. Some are a little bit thicker than others, but I'm not even concerned about that at all right now. We're good. Now this one should be ready pretty soon. Of course, my dishwasher is right below me, so everything that sits on there, it's actually a bad idea to do it on here because it's warm. So as you can see, everything's melting again because it's a hot surface. This is like the best part of my kitchen because I have so much counter space in this one spot. Now as I move over, there's less and less space available. So kind of why I like to have it here. But I'm just going to move over just a little bit. Really, honestly, it's not bad. See? Then we're just a little bit out of the way, and then you can see a little more. No, you can't still see my mess, so that's good. All right, so it looks like those have hardened pretty good. There's still a little bit of non-hardened. And then the rose is going to go over top willy-nilly, same as what I did here. And then when I do the dark chocolate, I'm actually going to fill the molds completely. And then shake, rattle, and roll, and then pour, right? Dump all that out. I'll have a fresh sheet when I do that. And then we'll get a completely solid cavity to put that ganache in. And I am going to let it sit quite a bit in between. So when I'm done doing this part, I'll cut the camera off, just so that you don't have to watch me do clean up and all that fun stuff. And who wants to watch me in the kitchen for an hour? Not me. But what I'll do is I'll get the ganache ready. I'll get things prepared, and then I'll come back and we can have another episode of this. I'm just cleaning up that mold as best I can. I just don't want I don't want anything to catch when I go to put the next color in and I go to scrape it. I want it to be able to come off clean. So it's the best to do it right away in between each color, in between each whatever you're doing. It's definitely going to make my job easier in the long run. And as you can see here, there's some thickening going on just in some of these edges, which is totally fine, but I'm going to take them out because we have more layers coming, and I would rather have the thicker layers be like more flavorful layers, like the chocolate. Even the rose has better flavoring than this, so I'm just going to take that away. Like, not a lot, I'm not taking much away, just that thickness there. This just doesn't, I don't need a thick layer of this stuff. It's not necessary. And cocoa butter has a different melting point anyway. Just want to make sure that the finished product is solid. And beautiful. So, okay, I think it looks pretty good. Some like speckly, whatever, I'm not concerned. But if you look in the bottom, like that's kind of what your bonbon's gonna look like. You've got a few little spots that are thicker, just for coloring. I think it'll be kind of neat. And when I'm done and I go over the total end, I might actually melt some white chocolate. Just do drizzles, give it some dimension. And this is taking forever, so I'm actually gonna pour it into a smaller. Have a smaller one. Wash this morning as well. This one is cloudy just from being in and out of the dishwasher a bajillion times. Things are old, but I love them. Alright. Yeah, like we are gonna have a lot left over. That may actually, I may need to I may use the rest to do a little squeeze at the end, right? Like I was talking about with the white chocolate, maybe even mixing it with white. Or with raspberry juice. Lots of possibilities. Possibilities are endless. Yeah, I'm just going to even use that. It's got a little bit of that orange peel in it, but now this is cold because it's been sitting in my sink, which is nice and chilled. I'm hoping it thickens up faster than not. Some things just take a while, and I really don't have any patience. You will hear me say that in almost every video. I really don't. I like to get things done. So I actually could have put some of that other stuff in these molds, but I didn't think about it. Like really this much is, I'm gonna have some left, and I still have that much left, so we have quite a bit. Starting, I think, to thicken a little bit, maybe. But once I get the layers in there, it'll go much smoother. This is kind of the longest process of the whole thing, I guess, making the ganache. Like, I'll get everything to the right temperature. These filled. I'm excited to see. And another problem is going to be me waiting long enough for them to be unmolded, right? Like, it's really cool right now to see the, actually going to, sorry, I just noticed that this one doesn't really have any coloring in it, like no powder color or anything. And I know that I'm going to be using the red or the rose in there, so I'm just going to swirl some powder around just to give it that. Yeah, I think that's good. Now, waiting. It is thickening. It's just taking a while to do. And while I'm waiting too, I do want to clean off this knife because I'm going to need it to scrape. And that's one thing. I do have another scraper, but it's downstairs. I don't really feel like running down there again. But trying to make sure that you have all the ingredients you need with you before you start. A lot of times I like to pre-measure even the day before. It does make the job easier when I'm going to do something. I mean, when I have a plan, I don't always plan. I will just say one day, hey, this is what I want to do, and then I do it. Okay, it's thickening now. So I think we're pretty close. I'll let it sit for a few more seconds here. I just want to make sure. I want to get that excess powder out of that one. But I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, we're definitely there now. So I'll go ahead and put it in just willy-nilly. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to make sure that I'm getting it into all the molds that didn't get the yellow, obviously. Like, it's funny how once it starts thickening, it happens so fast. Like, super fast. So now I'm going to bang it around. Oh, that looks good. So it didn't get, fortunately I didn't do, like, I can still go back. I have more in the other one too when it sets. I didn't get the yellow, the ones with the yellow, which is fine. It's, none of it is urgent. I do want to cut off some of the parts that are sticking out of it.
pick out
some of the chunks like I did with the yellow. Just trying to get some of those big chunks. But it does look nice. I mean, you look at the back, that's what your bonbon is going to look like. So I just want to make sure that the end result is pretty and tasty. Because you can look at a beautiful bonbon, you bite into it and it's like nasty flavor. I definitely do not want to do that. I want people to come back and buy more of my chocolates, not run away. So there we have it. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a good base. I'm going to scoop out. There's just some of them that go a little deep and a little thick. I just want to clean them up a little bit because we still have our chocolate to go in. So I want to thin that out a bit. Actually, this fits perfect in here. Wow, that actually worked really well. Stick that in there. I think when I come back, I'll have my phone hanging so you can see my work area. It's probably a lot easier to watch what I'm doing that way. Ooh. This works perfect.
cleaning everything out.
So we have some surface coverage for the most part.
But definitely the chocolate
I want to be like the dominant coating. It's going to coat the whole thing. So
make sure that that is
a dominant coating. But this is just going to be fun and color, right? Now, I still actually, yeah, I'm still going to do some rows in all of them. Just, well,
maybe I won't.
Maybe this is good. Because they're all going to be different anyway. I want to do different ones. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Why not? Yeah, we'll see. Because I can melt that stuff down later and do the other ones. But I want to get the coating done. So I'm going to leave you for now. When we come back, we'll start on the next phase of our Mother's Day bonbons. Stay tuned.